Hi everyone. Today we're going to start looking at research articles. Research articles are basic academic articles. They're often empirical research. Today we're going to focus on abstracts and on references. We're going to look and see what's in them and how to read them. Okay, like any other article, when you pick up an academic article, you're going to preview it. And what does that mean? Well, first of all, you have to ask yourself, what's the topic? What do I know about that topic? If you need to know something about that topic, you're not sure, well, that's the time to go out and look for some background knowledge on the topic, similar to what we did with the article, Getting the Best of Nanotechnology. We also want to look and see when the article was published. Was it published recently? Was it published a long time ago? Was it relevant? Sometimes an article that was published many years ago can be relevant for our particular needs. Who wrote the article? Do we know that person? Are they familiar? Was it one person? Was it many authors? We look and see, where's that author from? What universities did they come out of? In other words, their qualifications. And what sources does the author use? And that we see in the references at the end of the article, or the bibliography. And then, just like any other article, we need to pre-read. And the first thing we're going to read is the abstract. And in a few minutes, we're going to take a very, very close look at what that abstract is. But in the meantime, we'll take a look at the tables, the graphs, any pictures or photographs that might be there, the headings, the subheadings. And at this point, we have to set your purpose for reading. As they say, life doesn't come with reading comprehension questions, and you as academic readers have to know why you're reading this article, what you want to get out of it. And how are you going to mark that information? The articles can be very, very long, and it's impossible to remember where a certain point is. Are you going to highlight, underline, take notes in the margin, record yourself? There are many, many different options. And before you start reading it, this is a good time to make those kinds of decisions. So when we look at research articles, they follow a very, very clear structure. They're always the information is always in the same order. It always has an abstract, an introduction, even though it may not say introduction, that first beginning, it can be 1 to 10 to 15 paragraphs, introduction. It'll talk about the method, how the research was done, the results, what did they find out, discussion, and references. So today we're going to actually start with the beginning, with the abstract, and then take a look at the references. And in another slideshow, we're going to look at the introduction, method, results, and discussion. Because we're lucky. Scientific papers, research articles are generally presented with clearly labeled sections that contain discussions of the problem, the existing literature. That means the articles and books people have already published on the subject, the experiment and its design, the method, and the results, what they found, and how the results fill a gap or improve understanding of the topic. So let's start with the abstract. It is your starting point. The purpose of the abstract is to summarize the research study and the results of the study. And the reason it's there is because we're very, very busy people, and we don't have time to read a whole article that can be 5, 50, 100, 200 pages. So after a writer writes an article, he sits down in one very, very short paragraph, has to summarize the whole research so that we get a synopsis, a summary of the article before we even begin to read it. And then we can decide, is this something I want to read, or is this something I don't want to read or don't need to read? And the abstract usually includes a brief description of the problem. What was the problem? What's out there that made the researchers go out and do that research? What are they looking for? What relationship between what ideas are they looking for? They usually give a brief description of the method, how they did it, some of the major findings or the results, and their conclusions. a look at a typical abstract. This comes from an article called, right up here, Effects of Marijuana on Equilibrium, Psychomotor Performance in Simulated Driving. Our next topic is going to be road safety, so this is a good place to start. And we can see that there are three authors, Liguori, Gatto, and Robinson. And if we look and we say, the order isn't in alphabetical order, so what order is it in? Well, the head researcher always comes first, and then the others are in whatever order the researchers decided to put them in. So this is our abstract. So let's take a look and see how it starts. Delta-9 tetrodocaine, better known as THC, is frequently found in the blood of drivers involved in automobile accidents, and marijuana use has been associated with impaired field sobriety test performance. So right away we begin to see, automobile accidents, marijuana use. What have we got here? Yep, we got a problem. So the authors wanted to see what the connection is between marijuana use, automobile accidents, and specifically what happens on a sobriety, being sober, test performance. And then it goes on to say, the present study was used within subject design to compare the effects of marijuana on equilibrium and simulated driving. 10 marijuana users smoked, Then 2 minutes later, and here what do we see? We begin to see how they did it. What did they do? In other words, the method. It then goes on and starts with self-report ratings. Well, self-report is going to give us the, yep, you got it, the results. And then here again we see significantly increased. Significantly, when we're talking about research, means mufhak, statistically. Also increased, again, the results. And then we look down and we see the last sentence. Well, that's obvious. It's going to give us some of their conclusions. Not everything, but we see they're similar to prior results. So basically we see the problem, we see the method, we see the results, and we see the conclusions. And what we have in this one paragraph is a summary of that whole article. So question, how are you going to read this? Yep, you're going to read it very carefully and make sure that you understand every single word. So when you finish reading this one paragraph, you can say, I got it. And reading the rest of the article is filling in the details. The next thing we're going to look at is references. So what have we got? These are all the sources that the author refers to in the body of the text. In the body of the text, we see citations. We see the name of an author and the year, and that gives us and helps us know this is the information that the author used. And do we need to read the references? Well, yeah, we do. We need to scan it. We look and see, do we recognize any names? And if we're doing research of our own, we look for additional articles that might be relevant. And this is basically what a typical reference looks like. Let's take a more close look at the reference. Okay, so here we have, again, we see our authors. We see we've got two authors here. And let's take a look. We've got our authors. And then we've got a year. That's our date of publication. And then we have, do advertising bans work, an international comparison. This is the title of the article. And then we go in, International Journal of Advertising, right? That's the name of the journal. And these numbers here, they give us the journal volume number and pages, where we can find it, what volume, what book, and on what pages. And basically what we have to remember about references is this. The information will always be in this order: author, date of publication, title of the article, name of the journal, and the journal volume number and pages. So guys, you got it, I think, and now you're on your own, so you're going to be reading a few abstracts and answering some questions about them. So Have fun.